Oh my god. Nissa is back. I was so sad when she was turned to Phyrexian because Nissa is my favorite planeswalker. I have a giant poster of her in my room. She has had so many cool cards, and here's a new one. So Nissa Resurgent Animist is 2 of any color and 1 green for legendary creature Elf Scout. You don't see it here, but she is a 3/3, and she has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. Then, if it's the second time this ability resolved, this turn, reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal an elf or elemental, it's kind of blocked here, but it says elemental, card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So I think her most interesting implication is in Modern, because Modern has 2 things that Nissa is really good with. First of all, fetch lands are everywhere, so getting the second landfall trigger would be really easy. But the second part that makes her really good is that elementals are broken. There's so many powerful elementals in Modern. The bigger ones are Fury, Solitude, Omnath, Endurance, and also the black one who's not here. But all of these cards are exceptionally strong. And Nissa is a way to tutor them. And they already kind of care about landfall. So Omnath, he also needs 2 landfalls before he starts triggering. And Risen Reef can put an extra land into play to trigger her landfall again so that she makes more mana. And her ability to make 1 mana of any color is also really important because you're playing a 4-color deck. So casting your Omnath is going to be significantly easier. Another positive is that a lot of those decks run Renin 6, which will return a fetch land to your hand every turn to make sure you get that second trigger and the 2 mana from her. One of the problems I see with this card is that she is an elf herself. So once you get that second trigger, there is a chance you'll find another Nissa. And she's legendary, so you don't really want doubles. Although it is not completely bad. If they kill her, you have a free one, but it's not as strong as getting the other elementals in Modern. Also, he just dies to Lightning Bolt, which is really brutal. You do get 1 mana off, because you have priority, so you'll play your land and make the mana. But losing a 3 mana card to a 1 mana card really sucks. So for Commander, the cool thing about her is that I don't think you need to play Elemental Tribal or Elf Tribal for her to be good. Because her second ability reveals until you get one. You don't need to be running more than 4 or 5 elves in your deck for her to get a ton of value. So I don't specifically think she's going to be too phenomenal as a commander in an Elf Tribal deck. Because most of the elves, they make mana by tapping from it. But there are still some that get lands into play. There's Springbloom Druid who does that. He gets 2 lands too, so it'll make sure that you'll get the second trigger on her. There's Farhaven Elf, there's Sylvan Ranger, there's Wood Elves, and I think that's enough elves in the deck. And for Elemental Tribal, there aren't too many. Ancient Green Warden is great because it'll double her landfall ability, which is pretty cool. And you're probably running fetch lands, which this makes it possible so you can play your fetch lands again and again, making sure you always get that second landfall trigger. Cavalier of Thorn ramps you immediately, which will trigger her landfall. Avenger Zendikar is just a game-ending threat that gets absolutely crazy. So if you're playing her as your commander, I think the best strategy for her is to be in a ramp deck. A deck that just focuses on getting more lands into play so you can get that landfall trigger as many times as possible. And in mono green, there are a ton of different lands that once you play them, you sack them and get another land, making it really, really easy to get that second landfall ability off of her. So she turns into this green card draw deck. She's also really strong in the 99 because most green ramp decks will just randomly play some elves and elemental that you can get with this card. So I think this is a very good inclusion in pretty much any green ramp deck. So for standard, it's different because there aren't that many 2 good elves. The only 2 I could find was Llanowar Loam Speaker and Glissa Herald of Predation. Llanowar works with the theme because it makes mana and you will want to play this in a deck that makes a lot of mana. It doesn't put lands into play, which is too bad. But there's one cycle of lands that I think will be very powerful with her, and that is this cycle. When it comes in, it sacrifices immediately, and then you get an extra land, because that's 2 lands right off the bat. And if you can get 2 lands, then she'll trigger. The elementals we have is Omnath, Locust of Mana, and Yargle. Omnath has some good synergy because Nissa is going to make a lot of mana, so that mana might be unspent, and then Omnath saves it. And Yargle might be a good creature rampant. I don't really think so. And an important thing is that she is an elf in herself. So if you're running multiples of this, you will get one for when they kill her, and then you can replace her. So you'll still get card advantage in that way. Another card I think is really good with that is Soul of Windgrace. You turn 3, Nissa, and in the first or second turn you played a Maestro's Theater, so you have a land in the grave. After, on turn 4, you play Soul of Windgrace. It gets you back the land. She makes 2 mana. And then you get an elf, which will be Lanor Loam Speaker. Now you have 2 mana open, so you play the Loam Speaker, and then you ramped a bunch. And then next turn when you attack, you get Maestro's Theater back. The problem is though that mana will fizzle unless you use it, but you have the Soul of Windgrace, so you can use that mana to use his abilities. I think that's a pretty powerful combination. But being a 3 mana 3/3 is pretty strong. If she had 1 less power or toughness, she would die to cut down. She does die to Lightning Strike though, which kind of sucks. But normally these mana ramp creatures, they come in with pretty bad stats, so it's nice to see her have that nice booty. But I do think she will need better elves and elementals for this card to be a standard staple. So I do think there could be a landfall deck that she would fit in. It is so cool to see a card that can see play in so many different formats. So I'm really excited for this one. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It's a new channel. I really need it. And yeah, have a good one.